Greetings, 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 family. It's yours truly, Alton D. Walton III in the building. Thank you so much for tuning in to the UNIAACL Movement Program. UNIAACL is general character, and we focus on your mental, your spiritual, your physical, and your financial well-being. As you all know, if you don't know, you get ready to know. We definitely focus on an awareness about culture. And I love to bring on individuals that are definitely well-versed in that arena. I definitely bring on those who are educated via the culture, straight from the motherland. I pride myself in that. Make sure you go to the UNIAACL Movement channel. I'm going to put that information up here for you right now. Please ensure that you go there. I got a wonderful, wonderful program up right now. We have one of our good Zulu sisters that came on, and she talked about Shaga. She talked about Shaga Zulu. I believe that would definitely be of some interest to you. I have some individuals on that are Igbo, Akan, just definitely getting education from the source as it relates to our culture without it being tainted. As we all know, we know what's going on, the education being taken out of the schools. However, we already know, for those who don't know, you already know again, that it's our responsibility for us to teach our own. Kuji Chagali, I'm so grateful about Kwanzaa's on the way, and I'm excited about this king, Professor Alton Jones. I met our brother at the Black Liberation Movement celebration back in 2019 in Coldwater, Mississippi. And we definitely hit it off, man. I love the brother energy. I listened to him talk. Man, it was definitely powerful. It was definitely powerful, man, for real. You brought the heat, bro, like you always do. You know what I'm saying? You brought the house up. You know what I'm saying? I don't like to say down because, the knowledge and wisdom and understanding you have as it relates to our culture and also history as it relates to the motherland, too. Combining the two is like a bomb, man. You know what I'm saying? And you brought that, bro. You brought that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited to have you on, Professor Alton Jones, in the building. How you doing, King?
I'm doing well, beloved. Appreciate you, man. You definitely hit on something. That meeting that we had when we first crossed paths, it was truly dynamic, and
that it was.
And I appreciate not just you, but your energy. What you brought. We didn't bang here. We collaborate. So we had fission and fusion. Of
Absolutely.
power. At that summit. So I'm grateful for that, and I'm also grateful just to be a brother to you because of all the tremendous work you do, and your relentless love for people, for our people. And I see the investment every day. So, man, shout out to you as well, beloved. Appreciate you.
Praises, man. Thank you, man. Thank you. Modupe, as we say in the Yoruba tongue. Thank you very much. For my queen and I, we greatly appreciate it, man. Speaking of, excellence, man, right here I have in my hand two powerful tools that I invested in, and I want to just hold this up to the camera, family, because again, like the king said, I'm not boasting, but hey, I definitely put the resources where my mouth is at. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I definitely put the monies where the mouth is at, and I'm telling you, I actually watched the Independence Day project in its entirety. And I actually read, some of this powerful literature from the 2020 through the eyes of a social media revolutionary. Now, family, this is one of the multiple reasons why, of course, not limited to the reasons why, but this is one of the multiple reasons why we brought the professor on so he can talk about these wonderful projects. These are some wonderful tools to bring about education. And as I stated in the intro, we all know that our history, is being cut out, and we all know the reason why, right? We all know the attack on our people and us continuously being withheld from information that will actually liberate us. And of course, we don't expect that from the enemy, right? So being that we're family, and that's the way it originated before we was colonized, this is what this king actually did. And what I'm saying is he actually brought the solution to the problem. To me, that's what, brother, the Independence Day Project is, and the 2020 through the eyes of a social media revolutionary is, man. So please, the floor is yours. Please talk to us about why the title for the documentary and your book, and what's the significance of both of these, man, and what inspired you to implement these two tools and disseminate it to the community.
Oh, well, first of all, thank you for that that wonderful explanation and breakdown of both the film and the book. They both were actually created with that same energy and that same spirit. One of the things that I really like about what you just spoke on before I get into the book is the erasure of our history, through the textbooks, and how they've even got us to be complicit at tearing down some of their ceremonial statues, which, in my opinion, does us a disservice, because once you remove that, then they can rewrite history and pretend that those terrible atrocities never occurred. And you don't see that with any other culture. You go across seas and you go throughout the Holocaust, they still have museum after museum after museum. They still have ruin after ruin after ruin. And these are all historical landmarks to remind people to never forget the tragedies that occurred to those people. So we need to also be mindful of these different pushes that have us out here collaborating with those that are trying to erase, our culture. So the Independence Day Project was actually deemed entitled because we're African people seeking liberation, and the only road through liberation is for us to push through our independence. And the only way for us to do that is for us we have to be the foot soldiers, the architects, the engineers, and the warriors to achieve this goal. Dealing with children, when they would allow me to come in and talk to high schoolers in the city, I would sit in the classrooms and we would have these discussions every 2 weeks. And the students said, okay, man, you told us about racism, white supremacy. You told us about the dangers of being Black and young in this area. You told us about police brutality. We get all that. So how do we fix it? And I was so used to having these scholarly debates with, not just people our age, but elders and people who identify as being part of the struggle, that it was something that was never discussed. It was always, we're just going to wait for them to do something and we're going to react and respond to it. So there was no prior planning. So I just asked them, I said, well, don't y'all want to win? Well, yeah. I said, so how you win? We just keep on with the struggle. I said, so every day we're just going to keep struggling. I said, that doesn't make sense. I said, the first day you take a job in terms of your career, you look forward to the day you retire, so why are we
for real?
You look forward to the day when the fight, that battle is over and you can reap the rewards of all your hard work. So I said, well, y'all not planning for the victory. You're just reacting and responding to the damage that's being inflicted. So in other words, it's like, if you have a chicken farm or you have a herd of sheep, you're just waiting for a wolf to break in and decimate your farm. And then you'll react to the wolf. Well, why don't we just talk about removing the wolf? So, with the Independence Day Project, it was designed to be the first and still only solutions-based documentary out there in terms of liberating Black people who think in the concepts of Black nationalism and Pan-African liberation. So we asked two questions. Let's remove the white man. What does an independent Black community free of white supremacy look like to you? In other words, we don't need the excuses about who's going to tear it down when we start building it. Let's just talk about if we can do this, if we're going to do this thing collectively and within our own willpower. So we had some brilliant scholars, community activists, people who worked in the community, doing all sorts of nation building work, whether they were educating children, whether they were growing their own food, whether they were just scholars in general, or just activists or organizers. And we asked them all these questions, and we through this collaboration created a vision. utilizing the 9 areas of human activity, because nothing is without study and scholarship. So we use this book, you know, and this book is, you know, the compensatory counter racist code by Alton.Ogbako Fuller. And if anybody knows, Alton.Ogbako Fuller was the Jegna to the great late Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, who wrote the ISIS papers. So, you know, based on his 9 areas of human activity, we loosely use that as a guide, and we answered those questions. Then we went upon saying, okay, so now that we've built this, let's reverse engineer this. Now that we create this concept of vision, let's reverse engineer it and see what it takes for us to build it. So the beginning of the film, we talk about the vision. And then from that point forward, we look at these areas of human activity, or, you know, as our brothers and sisters in the Black Liberation Movement like to say, you know, we looked at these as areas of war, areas of battle, you know, and these areas of battle in which we need to win. And we start breaking it down through those concepts. And that's how we developed the Independence Day Project.
Wonderful. I want to say peace and power to our good sister, Crystal Denise, that's part of the Black Liberation Movement.
Right.
You know, definitely want to acknowledge our queens out there. We got Queen Mala out in the building. She said realness. And she said peace and power, brothers. So peace and power, Queen. You know, peace the queens in the building, as they always are. You know, want to acknowledge my queen too, Queen Amani Amari. You know, out there, you know, because we all know, you know, without the queens, man.
I don't want to hold you right there, bro. I want to hold you right there, because I don't think, and this is where because I do, you know, we'll talk later about my podcast, but one thing is I need the sisters to understand, you have the power to build kings and warriors and inspire greatness in men, and you have the power to tear all that down. And you just see, like, the works, because of the work you do with your queen, and I see y'all all the time. You are what we consider a power couple, because you both work to inspire each other, and because of that, man, brother, being with the right woman makes you want to get up early. You look at time in the day is if it's not being used, it's being wasted. You got to be productive and things of that nature. So all honor and praise to our beloved queens.
Yes, I say, man. You know, I know, you know, we have Queen Nzinga. You know, we got Ya Santiwa. You know, we have Queen Nanny. We got Coretta Scott King. You know what I'm saying? We got Betty Shabazz. You know what I mean? Asetta Shakur, Angela Day. Man, what?
The list goes on.
Then we got Queen Crystal and Mila and Queen Amani, right?
Right in the building.
You understand what I'm saying, man? It is true, man. You know, we got to put our queens back on the throne. And I love what you're doing, my brother, because I feel like, you know, what you're doing is you're actually homing in on the issues, but you also are bringing the solution to the problem, man. And I love what you said, because you're a solutionary, inclusive of being, to me, a revolutionary is a solutionary. You know what I'm saying? That's just my humble opinion about the situation, because when you're dealing with the Black Panther Party, the Fruit of Islam, you know, when you're dealing with the Black Liberation Movement, you know, down in Coldwater, Mississippi, you know, I got a lot of respect for those organizations and your organization as well. You know what I'm saying? Because you guys are not just talking about it. You know, you guys are like, let's do something. You're not just talking about, let's pray. Let's just, let God handle it. No, we talking about the God force within us. You know, we are the gods. You know what I mean?
You know, it's funny you mentioned that, because even in my book, you know, 2020 Through the Eyes of a Social Media Revolutionary, you know, there's a passage in there that speaks to, you know, listen, the work is on us. I mean, you go ask, you go praying to God for miracles. Who do you think he sends to perform the miracle? He's sending us to perform. Now, I'm not even saying he, the all benevolent, most high, right? Is sending us to do the work. You know, so you know, once again, brother.
I know, man. I could definitely go on a minute about the queens, man, because I got a great deal of respect for, you know, the queens, man, because even in my own household, you know what I'm saying, it was the women. You know, when the men abandoned ship, it was the queens that held it down. You know, it was my queen who was there for me when I fell out in the restroom, when, you know, I wasn't doing well. It was her that put the economic book. This man you see today, and this is just a fact. I am the man I am today because of our queens. No mistake about it. I can't let that slide, man. My grandmother, my auntie, my mother, my own wife, her. You know what I'm saying? She put the book of economics in my hand, man. She taught me what equity is in the house. She the one who taught me about investing. You understand what I'm saying? And I have no pride whatsoever of exalting her and praising her. You know what I'm saying?
As you should.
Mama Africa, you know, the nurturer, the birther, right? let me pause. Because, man, I go on about the queens, man. I really could. Because I got a great deal of respect for them, because even in the movement, the revolutionary movement, you see the women right there. The queens right there.
The sisters were always. You got to remember, man, we both, black men and black women, are in this together. We have a very conniving enemy who's very slick and very nuanced in terms of how, you know, we're attacked. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if I feed you, you might feel loyal to me. But if I'm feeding you poison, I'm poisoning you with your loyalty to me. And a lot of different things. And then there's another way where I'm going to torture you and produce fear and create loyalty just out of fear. So when we look at the dynamic in terms of you know, how the brothers and the sisters are going through things right now, that's really the chasm for my show, is because, you know, I want to bring balance so that we understand that when we talk to one another, the perspectives that we're talking to each other from, and that we have some clarity. And I know a lot of people are afraid, and I'm gonna tell you why a lot of people are afraid. A lot of people are afraid of speaking truth of a black man, specifically as regarding, you know, our condition with our women, because they're afraid of losing their financial base. And they think because black women, 90 to 10, you run a business, you know, 90% of your business is most likely going to come from the sisters. And most people know. See, we didn't even talk about that before here.
That's a fact.
I know this, you know. So a lot of people they walk on eggshells and they feel like they can't tell or speak the truth. And what happens is, as you've seen on my particular show, the No Go Zone show, a lot of the sisters, most of them sisters, appreciate hearing it from our perspective, because nobody's talking to them and saying what we're saying to them, and they just feel as though they're out in the world, out in the wilderness, and nobody is afraid. Nobody loves them enough to tell the truth. And see, that's where, you know, so that's the perspective we come from. We love our sisters enough that we're going to be frankly honest with them, so that we can clear all the BS, move all the other stuff out the way, and we can start working on healing and building and repairing our relationships. You know, because listen, every other nation of people, whether you talk about Asians, whether you even talk about the ethnicities that try to identify nationally, like the Latinos, whether you talk about the different cultures like the Jews. I know we're not supposed to say that word, but the Jews. Whether you talk about the different groups all around the world. I'm just saying, they all function to make sure that they're a nation first. You know, you don't even hear about the infight within them. And there is infighting going on, but you never hear about it because they recognize the necessity to be a solidified front. Because the world is at war. Every nation is at war. Every nation is a tribe at war for resources, for land opportunities, you know, and power. And we're the only ones fighting for power within our nation, while the other ones are utilizing, putting their strengths together, and they're fighting other nations, and they all capitalize off of our infighting. So we gotta come to the table with this understanding that if we really want to practice ma'at, and we really want to practice balance, and we really want to seek peace amongst each other, then we got to talk the truth. And the truth, love is hard. Love is rugged. Love is gangster. And so when you talk love, it's not all sweet and rose petals. It's not all fresh fragrances and perfume. Love is hard. Love is, hey, I will beat you bloody with this truth if that's what it takes to get it through to you. And that's how we operate, you know, with the on the no-go zone, brother.
No doubt, man. You know, family, make sure you go over there and check our brother out. You know, all the information is up there. You know, I wanted you guys to get to know who he is. He's my big brother, man. Him and I, we have a lot of conversations offline. And hopefully you captured a lot of things what he said, because, you know, this is the purpose of this program, is to build back up the African family. Okay, I'm not hiding this. I'm not concerned about being labeled as a separatist. I'm not concerned about none of that, because here's my thing. And here's a question I pose for anybody who feels like that. Is it separatism when you have a family reunion?
Right.
Is that separatism when the family come together, celebrate, and it's for family, it's a family-oriented event? Is that separatism? Is it a problem when you see a mother feeding her child or feeding her children, or a father tending to his child or his children? Do you feel like that's a problem? Okay, so if you don't feel like that's a problem, then riddle me this. Why, for those of you who do you feel like it's a problem whenever we talk about gathering together as a family and taking care of our family and ensuring that our family is well, both spiritually, physically, and economically?
Well, I can answer that question. The question is,
go ahead, leader.
This is whoa. I'm not, and I want to clear, I'm no leader. I'm a teacher. I'm an educator.
It's just a military thing, man.
I know, brother.
That's all, man.
And I love and respect you for it. But you know, I want to speak, you know, in terms of just what you spoke on. And one of the things is that everybody else sees it as war. And the last thing you want to see is your enemy getting strong. The last thing you want to see is somebody who you're going to have to compete with, you know, they're able to be physically fit. They're able to be mentally strong. They're able to think clear and focus. So we have to keep them disarrayed. We have to keep them discombobulated. We have to toss bombs in their houses at night so they can't sleep. You know what I'm saying? This is because we're the only ones that doesn't see it as warfare. Everybody else is taking care of their own village, taking care of their own community. So yeah, they don't have a problem, because see, as Black people, we're the most benevolent people in the world. We love, and because we come from a place of love and abundance, Mother Africa, as you explained earlier, genetically in our nature for millions of years, we've always said, listen, if we can all sit at the table and eat and enjoy in this abundance of resources, this abundance of splendor, then why do we have to fight each other over something that's abundant for everybody? But everybody don't come from that place. And because they don't come from that place and they see where we're at, you know, they come from a place of survival, not love. So therefore, they see us eating, they're saying, no, because we need what you got, because we have to conquer and destroy you. We just have to start recognizing how we're being warred on. We don't have to become like them, but we have to recognize who they are and why they come for us, so that we can be better prepared to build future generations. Because the same way you broke that down, I'll ask this question: who are we to be vanguards of our community and not make sure that the women and children and the babies are protected? You know what I'm saying? Who are we to not hold other people at bay, make people think twice before they come and interfere with our peace? Exactly. We have to be those.
That's right, brother. That's right, bro. I appreciate that.
Oh no, I say, brother. So when we start talking about going through this world, brother, and like I said, in this book, man, you know, this book right here, Chronicle Lies 2020. You know, and we went through various passages. You know, it's not a highly comprehensive book, because it's a book of passages, you know, but this book speaks to the evolution of the year, chronologically speaking, of what this revolutionary was expressing on social media. So, it's like this particular page right here, right? I'm on page 30, and saying it's not social justice, it's open warfare. So don't let them keep changing the narrative. You know what I'm saying? Another part of the book, I go back to page 37, right next to it. Your payoff is based in your investment. If you have not invested in the plan, you will not benefit from the solution. In other words, we're the ones that got to put in the work to fix what's wrong with our community, man. And it goes on, man. It goes on. And as we talk about nation building, and we talk about, like, for instance, last year around the time in September, October, and November, there was this big push for voting. And all the conversation was about how our ancestors died for the right to vote. So on page 71, pastor was Nat Turner, the Gullers, and the list goes on of our ancestors who died to liberate Black people. So don't just stop at voting. If you want to talk about what our ancestors died for and what you are obliged to do in relation to the sacrifices of our ancestors, understand they didn't just die to vote. Our ancestors died to be free. Our ancestors died to be liberated. Our ancestors shed blood on those plantations. Our ancestors shed blood on those boats. We don't talk about that. Our ancestors shed blood in Africa. That wasn't just a simple lynch mob.
Prisoners of war.
Yeah, that was war all over Africa. So our ancestors, from the time of the embarkment of dealing with all these invaders from these European nations, our ancestors held them off for centuries fighting. It was just and we can get, historically speaking, that's another conversation in terms of how
that's true, because you got Shaga, you have the Honorable Thomas Sankara, who turned Upper Volta into Burkina Faso.
Yep, you got Nkrumah. You have so many of the others who identified with Malcolm X, as he wanted to create Pan-Africanism through the guise of Black nationalism. And he was literally 2 weeks away from fulfilling that goal before he got killed, or before he was assassinated. So, we really have to dig deep in terms of understanding our history, understanding our role, and understanding the purpose. Because listen, if you ever like the 2035 plan, the 2055 plan, and all these other plans, if we study them and understand the significance of them, go back to the PNAC report, right? The PNAC report, the Plan for a New American Future, right? A New American Century, excuse me, where in 1998, they identified that the world was coming to a place where America had no real enemies in the world, so they would have to create a boogeyman, and then how they would have to create a sort of like a Hiroshima event in order to be able to expand militarily with the military industrial complex, right? And you had all of these different places. You had George Bush, you had Zygmunt Brzezinski, you had George, what is this dude's name? I don't know why I keep always missing his name, but you had all these different neocons come together in this conference. And then what did you have 2 years later? You had 9/11, right? And it's funny because even in the anniversary of 9/11, they never talk about the third building in New York that fell, Building 7. They never talk about that. But you had all these different things that were put in place. So they actually gave you the game plan. They gave you the playbook. They never told you about the fact that bin Laden, supposedly he was a CIA asset named, Tim Osman. They never told you about all those different things. They just created this boogeyman so that in the future they could plug them into play. But they wrote about it and documented it and predicted what they were going to do. And then on December 11th, 2001, their plan came to fruition. And when it came from that is this new surveillance grid that we've been dealing with. And it's been hypertension and hypersensitive ever since. So when we start looking at these futuristic plans, they have the plan for this whole new American century. It's all about imperialism, and it's all about a world without borders, and it's all about the surveillance grid. Well, that's what we're dealing with right now. And so we're not paying attention. 2035, if you look at all the future projections, there are no black people in it. Every picture, every cartoon, every futuristic dystopic future, it has no black people of any relevance in it. And that's predictive programming. So they're telling us in so many other words. And you look at the extermination campaigns that's going on right now in our community, the eugenics program and operation that's in play right now. You know, the genocide that you see taking place right now, soft kills, hard kills, no matter, we're still dying at alarming rates. And I'm pretty sure anybody who's on social media has seen a lot more of rest in peace, pray for my family now in the last 2 years than they have in their entire lifetime.
Yeah, no doubt.
So this is what we're dealing with. So we got to pay attention, and then we have to recognize what they're projecting, so that we can come back and create a plan of sophistication for our own survival and success for future generations to come. And that's what I like about the work you're doing, because you're actually, talking about people getting the resources together, people creating nest eggs, but also what you're really saying is, Black people, get your power together. And that's what I love about what you're working and what you're doing, because you're relentless with it. I see it every day.
All praises be, man. All praises be, because being a real person who actually went to combat in real life, I understand logistics. And one thing about logistics, you need resources, you need money. You know what I'm saying? For logistics, and also, like I said, a lot of these things we table, it sounds so good, schools and teachers and all these wonderful things, but anybody knows that's in a fight for the liberation of our people, we understand that it takes resources to do that.
That's right.
Resources. Now I'm just keeping it real. I mean, the teachers, they gotta eat too, right?
Right.
They got families to feed and bills to pay and everything else too. So
absolutely.
Absolutely. So that's all. I mean, because you're a teacher, so you're a bona fide credentialed teacher. You know what I'm saying? So you know exactly what I'm talking about.
And just really let me just speak on that for 2 seconds, brother, because
sure, absolutely.
I think it's horrible. I think it's horrible that we've created a condition in our community that the people who speak freely and the people who speak for us, the people who actually put their necks on the line, because the fact that we say these things publicly, if it catches fire, then all of a sudden we're a major target. We become more dangerous than any drug dealer, any gangster, anybody else, because the biggest, the biggest part of the matrix right now is to make sure everybody stays asleep. So as soon as you start awakening people and getting them looking and moving in practical application, as my good brother Patrick Alexander like to always say, you become a threat to the matrix, which we all currently reside in right now. And so what people need, we do need to be able to survive. And I think this is a very harmful concept to think that somebody is pimping the people just because a lot of us allow the charismatic speaker to pimp us. That's a different thing. The charismatic liar, as I say, is allowed to do certain things. But those of us who are 10 toes down, those of us who can still get out and walk around in our own neighborhoods and still greet the people and be met with love, those of us who can go in any environment where Black people are and be at home because they know where your heart is, we're the ones that need the support from the community. And so this is why I have, I produce products, but products that are beneficial for the community. I produced a film, I produced a book. I even have shirts out that I produced, empowering our people, especially for the young people who just got activated. 2020 made them a revolutionary. So, you know what I'm saying? And concepts that we're going to continue to grow and build. But, for those of us who understand the work, that's why I have no problem going to your website. I see you put something up, boom. If I can't get it today, it's on my list. I'm gonna get it next week. I love that shit. That's the next one I'm getting right there. I'm telling you right now, that's the next one I'm getting. Because I believe in that. I believe in supporting us, and I believe that we can create that that cycle of group economics. You know what I'm saying? We can create
That's
that
right.
amongst us and allow that to flow. So you know, brother, and I appreciate you, like I said, man, you know, because like you said,
Likewise, King.
we do talk and we do
Yes,
have
we
these
do.
conversations.
Yes, we
So
do.
that's and so I truly understand. I can relate to, you know, the messages you pour out every morning as you sit in your car and, you know, you just want to drop a little something because you could just go about your day. You know what I mean? But you decide to show a little love, and I appreciate that, brother.
Yes, man. All praises. You definitely welcome. And as you know, man, it's a love that we have, man. You know, to see our people rise above poverty, you know, and transition to prosperity because, you know, we need the resources, man. You know, and that's the bottom line. You know, instead of passing down generational broke, you know what I'm saying? We need to start passing down generational wealth. And I'm no fool. You know, I know, you know, that we need to learn these various financial strategies. And if we don't learn about budgeting, you know, if we don't learn about investing, if we don't learn how to, you know, manage our monies properly, our brothers like in athletics, you know, in entertainment, you know, unfortunately, you know, they end up being broke because they don't understand, you know, how to manage their money properly. They don't understand investing. They don't understand growing. They need to learn how to gain, grow, sustain, and protect their wealth, you know, and that's what we focus on. That's everybody has their ministry. I believe that fighting is all of our ministry. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, I don't care. You know, you're a preacher. You know, you're in economics. You know, it's all war anyway. It's to me, it's all war anyway. I mean, that's just the bottom line. You
It's
know,
all
and
a
we
war.
need.
It's all a war, and you know, this is what we really need. Like, okay, for instance, if you ever seen the movie Gangs of New York, right? The first person of significance to die in that movie was the priest, and he was out there killing people on the battlefield for his tribe. You know, the Irish who were fighting with the so-called natives, you know, a group of white men that claim to be Native Americans, right? But you know, you can go anywhere in the world. That even transcends color, transcends race. The people, the spiritual people got on that battlefield too. The religious leaders got on that battlefield too. And in fact, they were in the front lines most of the time because they were the ones that had to empower people to let them know that God supported them and that they were shedding blood in the name of God. So, you know, when no cause.
That's another program.
No cause to shed more blood, right?
Oh man, that's another program.
Right?
Yeah, that's another program within itself, man. You hitting on something right there. You know, hey, Queen Crystal, thank you so much. We greatly appreciate the compliment, Queen, and we definitely greatly appreciate you practicing cooperative economics. Ujamaa. You know, so family, we thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, our holiday is coming up, you know, Kwanzaa. You know what I'm saying? So put it on your page. Challenge our people in a loving way for them to turn, you know, to ourselves and to start accepting ourselves. You know, it's anybody knows anything about the, you know, Nguzo Saba, you know, is that those principles are life principles.
Yeah.
I don't like to call them the 7 principles of Kwanzaa because I like to call those the 7 principles of life. Because it's a daily walk. It's a daily walk, you know, and that should be something that we practice on the daily, not just doing Kwanzaa, you know, like the religious people. You know what I'm saying? Kwanzaa come everybody Afrocentric.
Yeah.
I'm just keeping it real. Everybody Afrocentric doing Kwanzaa, you know, but after that, everything get put up in the closet, you know, and then your culture go in the closet. You know what I'm saying?
Important.
So I'm just here to challenge all of us. You know, hey man, you know, I'm not saying you got to be an extremist because you can definitely push people away. But what I am telling you is to be loving and be passionate and to share our culture and to challenge one another in a loving way, you know, to remember our ancestors. You know, it's and I'm just saying this, and it is what it is. You know, Memorial Day come and we stand up. You know, we celebrate so-called individuals that's supposed to have died for our freedom. They didn't die for our freedom. You know, so you get mad. It is what it is. You know your history. They didn't die for our freedom. The flag was even created during the time my ancestors were still enslaved. 4th of July, that's not our Independence Day.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Our ancestors were still enslaved during that time. You know, so for those who are patriotic, I'm a 20-year retired Marine. Okay, so I don't know how much more patriotic you gonna get than that. Well, I done went to combat 3 times. I'm more passionate about my people and us reconnecting with who we are than I am passionate about upholding a colonized tradition and upholding traditions that was imposed upon our people and have nothing to do with us. So I just wanted to say this in closing. I want to give our guests an opportunity to say some closing remarks too. You know what I'm saying? My question to you is, why are you so upset about us not embracing a colonized culture? I want to ask you that again. Why are you so upset about us not embracing culture that is not ours? It was our ancestors who was imposed upon. And for those you don't understand, is you still are part of us. We still one DNA. I don't care how proper you speak English. I don't care how high you are in corporate America. I don't care how far in the suburbs you live. You still African. And you can never separate yourself from that. So just ask yourself the question, why am I so upset with my brothers and sisters when they fight against a system that was designed to colonize us? You're acting like you are the defendant instead of the plaintiff. I want you to think about that. We're the one that got the complaint, but you're standing on the enemy side talking about what's your problem. Like as if though it didn't happen to your ancestors. Like you're separate from that. Think about it. King, please, you know, your last closing remarks, please. And after that, we're going to shut it down.
I say, brother, well, you spoke on some very powerful things, man. So, you know, very appropriately, you know, the way to close out. You know, in the Independence Day Project, we say you have to, you know, reject all of their customs, their traditions, their holidays, their systems of re-education, which is what all of these different things are, in order to reclaim your own culture, reclaim who you are, to go back to understand Sankofa, to go back to where you are so you can learn, back to where you were so you can learn who you are. And we speak on those things. We speak on the necessity of us being the sole providers of education, the sole providers of spiritual work, the sole providers of just community building. And we also speak on the sole necessity of us to be the warriors that are needed in time of duty and called upon. We don't run away from that. And so, you know, I appreciate, you know, this opportunity to talk to a new audience, but also to be on here with my good brother, because this is really just us having a conversation. Y'all just got an opportunity to witness it. You know what I'm saying? You know, this is how we talk. And so peace and praise and power unto all of you. And I just thank you, brother, for inviting me onto the platform. And I look forward to continue to follow your concepts and your all of your content, and also to continue to, you know, support your various business branches, you know, because, you know, we've even talked about that, collaborations and those things moving forward, which we need to have conversations like. So, like I said, peace and power to you, and peace and power to everybody that pulled up this evening in the chat. You know,
Yes,
definitely
thank you.
Appreciate the warm responses. Truly humble, beloved. Peace and power.
Peace and power, family. Thank you all again for tuning in. We greatly appreciate it. Make sure you know you check us out. I'm gonna leave the information up. And actually, I'm gonna scratch that. I want you guys to follow his information. So let's close out with that one. And we'll be talking to you all soon. Be blessed.